mate. What do you want to do tonight?
The same thing we do every night, Pinky. Try to take over the world.
You might think that getting into the IT field is impossible without a computer science degree, but Tech Coach Ralph is here to prove you wrong. Get ready for some jaw-dropping revelations on how to break into this lucrative industry. Listen up, tech enthusiasts! Are you ready to break through into the IT field, but feel like you need a computer science degree to make it happen? Think again! Tech Coach Ralph has some exclusive, mind-blowing secrets to share with you. Get ready to be blown away by his jaw-dropping revelations on how to break into the tech industry without a computer science degree. So get your notepad ready, because Tech Coach Ralph is going to change your life forever. Buckle up, because you're about to embark on a journey to success in the IT field.
It's time!
Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. Tonight, Tuesday, Q&A night, March 12th, 2024. We are in the house. We are in the building. Let's go. Let's get the show on the road. How is everyone doing tonight? We're already in, what is this, the second week of March now? We're in the second week of March already. We are zooming through the year. We're almost halfway through the year. We're at least at a quarter way through the year. We're almost halfway through the year. Once we get to June, look at that. We're starting to look back and looking forward. All right. So we are here for Q&A night. If you do not know who I am your host of the show and of the channel. I am Tech Coach Ralph, where we are engineered to win. Oh, look at the ticker. Look at that struggle streaming already. The ticker is hiding the text. Hold on. Let me fix that. If I can get to it. Let's see. Where are you? There we go. That's more like it. There we go. We are back in the building. All right. All right. So tonight we have questions and answers. I am going to get into it, going to answer your questions, going to answer some questions that I found. And if anyone wants to call in, the link is it's pinned to the top of the chat as well as in the description. You don't have to be on camera. We can have a conversation. I can answer any question that you may have. Whatever you need, I'm here for you. All right. So if you want to call in, just click on the link and we can have that conversation. You don't have to be on camera. You don't have to be on the stream. Only your voice will be shared. All right, cool. So let's get into our agenda before we get the show on the road to the questions. Let's get to our agenda. Nothing extra today, just going to go to the agenda and then we will start answering some questions. All right, so first and foremost, like I always love to do, I have to say a big shout out to the newest subscribers. Thank you so much for being here.
I appreciate you.
And of course, to the subscribers who have been here for a very, very long time now, I really appreciate you. And you get a you guys are absolutely amazing. I really appreciate the feedback and the love and everything like that. And as well, I have to give a hat tip to my tech barbarians who are always working so hard, getting some new tech barbarians and everything. We are almost filled. We are almost at capacity for the tech barbarian tier, the premier coaching group. So if you haven't signed up, it might be too late, right? It might be too late. So Just letting you know right now, shout out to the Tech Barbarians, to the Tech Prodigy members, to my Tech Elite, to my technical explorers, right? Because hey, I'm working on placing my people in different places to gain that experience they so desperately need, and we are winning because
The only thing I'm addicted to right now is winning.
yes, I am addicted to winning. All right. So let's jump into the show. Let's talk about the live show schedule. All right. So we have Sunday afternoons, software explorations. We are working through Terraform. This past Sunday, we were working on setting up Terraform with MongoDB Atlas serverless connection, which we did get it set up. So we just have to, I mean, that's pretty much done. And I was also able to change the domain name to for the application after like through Terraform after the fact. So we're all good on that front. And then so Tuesday nights we have our Q&A sessions tonight. Thursday nights we have our software explorations. We're going to be continuing working on free mind recovery this coming Thursday. And then very, very soon we're going to be moving into API testing. There was a comment left on a video recently saying that they're struggling with API testing. And you know what? I think a lot of people would love to get some more insight on API testing. So we're going to be moving to that. We're going to be working on Postman and like different ways that I would recommend learning how to test APIs and how to use APIs. We're going to be working on Java with Rest Assured. We're going to be working on Python, the request, and for Good Guy, of course, for Good Guy, where is it?
Good guy.
We are going to take on some Playwright with API as well. We'll look into that briefly, no promises, but briefly we'll look into that. But yeah, so that's the plan moving forward. And then Mondays and Wednesdays we have the morning show at 7:15 a.m. Coffee and Kata, where we do some news and coding challenges. All right, so that is the plan going forward. You know, I'm at some point I might adjust the time on Monday because I might make it a little bit later because there's something I do want to do on Mondays. But we'll look into that. Right, we will look into that as well. We will hey, I am agile based minded. We make adjustments as necessary. Okay. So with that being said, let's move on into our pre-recorded content. All right. So we have Monday's Candy Conversations, where we are, you know, this past Monday was a pretty funny one. I spoke about a what almost ended up as a job disaster. Oh my goodness. But luckily for me, I went with my instincts and I made the right choice. So if you're interested in hearing about my potential job disaster, go ahead and check out that kind of conversation. Wednesday, we are going to be that's tomorrow. Oh my goodness, time is flying. So we are going to be going over the compliance part of the GRC framework. We already did we did the overall intro. We did the governance part. We did the risk management section, and now we're going to jump into compliance. And then next week we'll probably go into the GRC framework, and have an overall conversation about that. So that's tomorrow, compliance for the GRC model on GRC framework in cybersecurity. And then Fridays we have the bug bite. All right. So this coming Friday, what are we talking about this Friday? We're talking about United Health, I believe, right? So you definitely want to tune in. A lot of things happening right now with United Health. So be on the lookout for that. A lot of people are affected by this, so definitely worth the investigation. And then we have throughout the week shorts and clips from the Q&A show, as well as, sometimes I drop some additional clips from other shows. We never know what to expect, but that is the plan. That is what we're up to, okay? So with that being said, that is our live show and our pre-recorded show content. All right. So I see that we have my guy Mitch in the chat already. So shout out to Mitch as always. I really
I appreciate you.
Mitch. All right, let's get into let me look at the chat. You see, I think I might have spoken too soon. What's going on, Mitch? And Mitch says, "What I tell you about that hat? You told me that's your favorite team. I mean, that's what you told me, But you had the messages on auto disappearing mode, so I have no proof of that now. So it is what it is. I have no proof. So, but that's what you told me, but no proof to back it up. So I can only do what I can do, right? All right, and we see which bot decided to show up for work today. Oh my goodness, we have My other brother in the chat, Operation Tech Takeover, says, peace and blessings, family. What's going on, Tech Takeover? How have you been? How is everything going? How is your studies going? I know you've been like working relentlessly. So just checking on you, see how things are going. How is the studying going for you? Yeah, just happy to see you as always. I got my two brothers in the chat. Look at that. And yeah, this exactly. I never know which one's gonna show up to work, so I have to hire both, and then I send one home. I don't know if you ever had those jobs back in the day where like they send some people home because too many people showed up to work. Well, that's what happens with these bots, right? So I just invite both, and based on whoever shows up first, I send the other one home. So it is what it is. At least it's a bot and not an actual employee because they would be mad if I had to send them home. But gotta do what you gotta do, right, Mitch? All right. All right. So, real quick, before we get into the show, if you haven't done so already, I'm not even gonna like belabor the point. Go ahead and check out the Chaos Camp GitHub. I'm gonna drop the link in the chat so you can level up your technical skills and stuff like that. And I'm not gonna belabor the point on Grammar. Oh, actually, no, I do have a little bit to talk about Grammar Hub, right? I'm gonna drop the link in the chat, and I'm gonna give a quick little story about our meeting at Grammar Hub yesterday. It was so fun. All right, so link is in the chat, right? So yesterday I jumped on the meeting for Grammar Hub, and we're talking about resumes, and I shared my resume with them. And guess what? My resume is wait. My resume is 8 pages long. So we were talking about that yesterday. They were reviewing it and stuff like that, and they were asking like, "Why is your resume so long? And why isn't it like 1 page, 2 pages maybe at max?" I'm like, because I've been working for like 20 years, and um, all of my experience is built upon one another, precepts upon precepts, and everything is relevant. And it's my marketing. I could probably shorten it down if I needed to for a particular position. But this is the template, this is the blueprint, and guess what? I've never been stressed for work and stuff like that. But yeah, it was a great conversation. And what I left them with is, whatever it is that you're doing, don't be afraid to adjust and don't be afraid to adapt. If you have if you have the experience to fill out a resume like that, because look, I've how many jobs? I've been working since 2000. I mean, I've been working since 2000, but I've been working like corporately since 2005, right? And from tech support to web design to QA, and then QA since then, but like different parts of QA, different roles in QA, different companies in QA. And and I'm just describing the journey, and I'm telling a story, and I'm listing all the value that I brought to all the companies. And trust me, not to brag on myself, right? But I bring a lot of value to companies, right? When I say a lot, I mean a lot of value to companies. That's what I do, right? So, and I'm just explaining the journey and stuff like that. So just talking about like why I structure my resume the way that I do. On my resume, I have I list like some under education, some like Udemy courses, mainly because a recruiter had told me that back in 2015, 16 about doing that, and I was like, all right, cool, no problem. And I left it on there. And something that I thought about is if companies are willing to pay for Udemy licenses and courses and stuff like that for their employees, if it's good enough for them, why isn't it good enough for me to put on my resume, right? So I always left it on there. I mean, if I needed to apply for anything, I would probably make some adjustments to it, maybe shorten it just a little bit, not much, but just a little bit, right? But yeah, so it was a great conversation overall, and it was great to engage in the dialogue and to explain why being in tech for 20 years, the way that I kind of always go against the grain. Like, they always tell you, a resume, 1 page or 2 pages and stuff like that. And maybe when I've been applying in the past, why I might have gotten some rejections because my resume was too long. But the pathways that I went down and the offers that I did get, they were actually the ones that I wanted. So I don't know. It's always interesting. It's always fun. It's never really. I mean, and plus, you know, when you bring the type of value that I bring, then people start looking for you instead of you having to go out and always look and beg for people to give you a chance. So you know, that's why I move the way that I move. You know. So, oh my. That's what even they are. Yes, they are both here. I see that, Mitch. Oh my goodness, these guys, they just can't do it, you know. I'm gonna kick the other one out tonight. Let me see. Go kick one out. Better late than never, I guess, right? Let's get them out of here. Let's get them out of here. Actually, no, I'll leave that one in. I treat the new bot so poorly. My goodness, what is the name of this one? I'm so bad. Let's get you out of here. All right. I kicked the other one out, you know. It's anyways, whatever. Thank you, Mitch. Thank you for letting me know that they both decided to show up to work. One of them was a little bit late, but you know, it is what it is. All right. So yeah, that is the story of that. So it was a great conversation last night. And I would encourage you guys, whoever is looking for tech stuff, to join the Grammar Hub Discord, join the conversation, and yeah, like join the conversation. And you know, if you're looking to transition to tech, if you are taking a boot camp or something like that, they do resume reviews, they do interview prep, they do teachings and stuff. And you know, they even hang out. Like I think this coming Thursday they're doing an online movie night. And you know, and then like they have meetups and stuff like that. So definitely a cool thing to do. All right. So let's go to the chat before we get into our questions. All right. So we have Mr. Operation Tech Takeover said, getting ready to start studying. Just wanted to come and show love to my brother and support. Shout out to you. And you know, that's what I love about Tech Takeover. He works ferociously, like wakes up early to drive to work, and then after work he goes and he studies. And I always tell him, yo, get what you need to do done. Go and study. Like you know, stop by when you can. But I'm always rooting for you to get to wherever it is that you have that goal or that desire to be. So shout out to you and have a great study session. All right. And what else do we have in here? Mitch says, wishing you well. Of course he got this. I have no doubt about that. I know Tech Takeover got it. All right, what else do we got? And Tech Takeover says, see, when you're a goat, it can get like that. Hey man, I've been doing it for a while, you know. My man, 100 grand, and it says, wait, I think they're moving. All right, or even still, if you're an Apple fan, I'm not an Apple fan. That's Trey and Joseph. I'm on Android. Like the only real Apple stuff that I use, well, other than my MacBook, I have like this iPad that I use for the soundboard. I don't know if you can see it, but it's like part of my soundboard. But I only use it for that. But yeah, I'm an Android type of person for real. I mean, Mitch is talking about you talking about Tech Takeover, or you talking about me? Oh, okay, because I'm team Android always. All right, and then Pluto, shout out to Pluto. He left me an amazing comment today. Shout out to you. And yes, I am live. And he says, I just saw your response an hour ago. Yep, that was a great comment on the cybersecurity salaries video. And yeah, I think I'll be making a video about that part of cybersecurity, because here's the thing, right? Here's the thing with cybersecurity and with software engineering, QA, all of that stuff, right? They're always going to market to you the highest paying jobs, right? But then like when you get starting off, you're not gonna go straight to the highest paying jobs, you know. And a lot of times, like they'll tell you, okay, you can make $150,000 a year, but you're probably gonna be starting off at like 60, and depending on which role in cybersecurity, because GRC, for example, that like those non-technical, non-coding jobs, they're gonna pay a little bit less, from what I see, But what we can do probably on Thursday stream, we can start looking up these GRC jobs and different jobs in cybersecurity to see what the pay range is. Maybe start looking for the jobs, looking up the salaries on Glassdoor. We'll see. We shall see. All right. And Pluto said, "Do you think a degree in 2024 is needed to enter cybersec? In my opinion, it is, at least to get a competitive pay." So, what I'm gonna say is, I think that a degree puts you in the best position. It makes you stand out. Is a degree like does having a degree mean you know more than other people? Not necessarily, but it's if companies are asking for degrees, I say if you're able to get a degree, then get it. It's not everybody's able. Like some people are trying to transition and trying to go back to school. It's not the easiest. They have kids, they have work and stuff like that. So it's not that easy. But if you're in a position to go to school and get that degree, I would always recommend it. Whether you're doing cybersecurity or computer science with a focus on cybersecurity, I think that puts you in a better position. But at the end of the day, the way that you build experience, whether you're building a lab, whether you're working like help desk or what is that, like SOC analyst or something to get your feet wet. I think that and don't forget, like you're also probably going to need the certifications. But if you go to school for cybersecurity, you'll probably be getting the certifications along the way. So, but yeah, I do think that the degree is very, very helpful. Even if because some people, they do a boot camp, they might find a job, they might get their certificates and find a job and stuff like that. But I always believe in putting yourself in the best position to win. That's how I see it, right? Because at the end of the day, everything is a competition. Everyone who wants that same job that you want, that is your competition. And I would say put yourself in the best position to win and to crush it and to destroy it. All right. All right. And Tech Takeover said he is teasing. Yeah, I figured that. I figured that because I remember when I was sending you that thing, you did have an iPhone, so, and I'm with Trey. I'm team both. See, they're playing both sides of the fence, all right? Isn't that what they call like lukewarm, Mitch? And Mitch says, we the Android boys. Yes. Shout out to the Android boys. And Mitch, your hat, like this one is in the mail, all right? It's in the mail. All right. Enough fun, enough joking around. But Pluto, if you have, there you go. I was about to say, if you have any other questions, all right, let me read that, and then we'll get to our first question, and then we'll go from there. All right, let me look at Tech Takeover first. Once I get things together, I plan on going to what is it? Western. I forgot what I've seen it before. I forgot what the G stands for. But yeah, I've seen their commercials. To finishing my degree, left college in 2001 and never went back. But it's a life goal to finish. Yeah, I mean, the way that I feel about college is that as long as it's with a purpose, right? Because most people, they go to college for just because it's something to do, right? But I say use it for a purpose, whether if you're going to STEM or if you're like going to be a lawyer or a doctor or something, then you need it, right? But a lot of people, like they go for like these degrees that absolutely don't mean anything, and then they end up getting the worst jobs that an 18-year-old, a 16-year-old in high school get, and they working right alongside the high school student, and then they get mad when the high school student gets promoted to manager and telling them what to do while they are in, $100,000 worth of debt, right? So I believe college is necessary if you're going for the right reason. Yes, Western Governors University, that's what it's called. All right, let me check. Pluto said, yeah, I noticed that people getting hired lately got ISC, CC, or Security Plus with a bachelor's degree to enter cyber quicker. Help desk is a path forward, but for the speed people want to get in, it seems like a degree is fastest. Yeah, I mean, and here's the thing with the degree, right? It takes time to go and get it, and that's the funny thing, right? I guess people want everything fast, right? Because it takes time to go and get the degree, right? Like it might take you 3 to 4 years to get the degree, but people want to go to a boot camp for 6 months, and then but they also want to get the pay of going for 4 years. So I don't know. Like I said, if you have the time, if you're young, if you have the time, the capacity, you don't have like a family depending on you and stuff like that, then I would say, hey, go and spend the time to get that degree. You might have to work a couple of jobs, might have to drive Uber, no big deal, because it is what you're doing to get on the path to where you want to go to. But yeah, like I said, my thing is put yourself in the best position to win. And Pluto said, Albert Shinteco, I recommend WGU. They finished a few. Just finished. Oh, nice! Shout out to you, Pluto. I love seeing that. I love seeing that. And he says, "We cool, but." I tried. All right. And Mitch, Tech Takeover said I was going for CIS and business management, but my pops got sick. Sorry to hear that. This was back in 2001. And says I saw some of your older videos. Consistent with my question is, do you still have that brown chair? What made you start streaming 5 to 7 days a week? So which brown chair are you referring to? I have. Or are you talking about the mesh chair? The mesh chair is right here. I'm about to bring it to my parents' house. Hopefully they're not watching because they've been waiting for that chair for a while. Or is it like that brownish chair that's like right behind me over there? And when we start streaming 5 to 7 days a week. So what happened with the 5 to 7 days a week, right? I was streaming. So on this board right here, right? I have like this little board here of like what I was planning to do, right? I was gonna stream twice a week on Thursdays and Sundays, right? And then it got I was like, oh well, let me answer these questions. So then they added Tuesday, so that became 3 days a week. But I had but when I very first started the channel, my goal, what I really started it for was to do morning streams where I'd be like coding and stuff like that. But I had to like find a cadence to be able to wake up early and stuff like that to do it, and not like do the other stuff that I had to do. So having those 3 days and then streaming Monday, Wednesday, and Friday morning, that's how it got into being 5 to 7 days a week. And then like every now and then I'd go live on Saturday if I had to do something. But yeah, so that's how it got to be 5 to 7 days a week. It was like by just building a schedule and having things that I wanted to do. So that's how it all worked out in the end. Let's see. It says college with a plan. Check. College for fun. X. 100% agree. And it says ironically, I got my WG in 6 months. I did the quick method, but it was the grind. Hey, however you can get it, you get it. If you can do it in 6 months, even better. Because I don't know what is the main. I don't know. It was the main part of your older video. I was just wondering. And so is this channel focus in all tech? This channel is like all tech, right? So tonight, like on Tuesday nights, I just have a Q&A about like different topics and stuff like that. Once a month, I team up with Socks, where we have like a cybersecurity Q&A night, which we'll probably be doing next Tuesday night. And then sometimes I make some videos about cybersecurity. Sometimes I make but like, so let's rewind just a little bit. So I do some cybersecurity stuff, but it's mostly focused on different things, right? So Sundays I do infrastructure as code using Terraform. On Tuesdays the Q&A night. On Thursday nights it's a little mixture, but it's like mostly related about quality assurance. In the mornings on Mondays and Wednesdays I do like Flutter mobile app development with test-driven development, and then sometimes I do like more cybersecurity focused stuff. More of my pre-recorded content might be related to cybersecurity because I'm not personally in the cybersecurity field, but I'll go over cybersecurity stuff. Like I've been looking into GRC the past few weeks. Tomorrow we're going to be talking about compliance. And then like there were some streams in the past where I was like setting up Grafana for incident management, whatever that, I forgot what the acronym stands for, but for SIEMs. Um, and you know, like different, like with socks, I did some like hack the box type stuff. So it's just a mixture of all tech stuff, just things that interest me, things that I want to work on, things that people are asking me for. We just do different tech stuff to give exposure and for me to learn. Mostly it's a selfish reason, right? It's for me to learn different tools, different technology and stuff like that. Um, that's interesting. I'm a security analyst hitting my 1 year and 1 year in 8 days. Nice, 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 nice. I'm working on software engineering and maybe building an app once I have the skills. Okay, cool. That sounds awesome. That sounds really, really awesome. There's this thing in front of me. All right, cool. That's really cool. Yeah, like if you looking at like they're called Coffee and Kata. If you look at some of those streams, I'm working on like I just started learning Flutter back in January, and I already have an app in both app stores in Android and in iOS in like test mode, and it was like it was fun. It was learning how to submit the apps to the app stores was really cool. I ended up going to sleep like at 5 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday night, Sunday morning, just trying to get the applications in. But it was fun, and being able to see how the ecosystem works. Very simple app, some time cost calculator. But yeah, it's amazing. Like I'm having a lot of fun doing it. Like I just figured out how to. I was showing that on the stream yesterday. How to add a like when an alert error dialog box. So like when I put in the wrong, like too many characters or something like that, it's gonna pop up a little alert stuff. So yeah, cool. That's awesome. I'm happy to hear that. Yeah, like and if you have ideas, Pluto, like just let me know and like I'll be quick to throw up a stream and stuff like that. So cool. Um, perfect, perfect. All right. Let's go to and I'll join the Discord to get those. Yeah. I don't have it. I mean, I have a Discord, but it's a test Discord. But if you're talking about the Grammar Hub Discord, you can join that Discord regardless, and just add me on Discord. It's just Tech Coach Ralph on Discord. Send me a message, and we can chat some more that way. But yeah, all right, cool. All right, let's get to our questions. All right, let's get to our questions. But first, let me get some energy.
Please offer me your energy. I ask of you, please.
All right, all right, all right. So let's get to our first question. Right, what time is it? All right, and I have a hard stop at 9:30 as well. I have a meeting at 9:30 with one of my tech barbarians. So we are going to get the show on the road. Where's my timer? Okay, there we go. All right, let's put the timer up. And we are going to get to our questions. All right, we have some great questions in for tonight, but let's get started. If you haven't done so yet, do me a huge, huge favor. Like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you can know every single time that we go live. And if you need one-on-one coaching, go over to www.techcoachralph.dev. All right. So let's get to it.
Another one.
So we start off with this one. Overwhelming responsibilities. I've been thrown into a project too. All right, here comes the list. Set up test automation from scratch. Set up, maintain CI/CD pipelines. Design test cases and report bugs. Attend every technical meeting. Correct outdated story specifications. Do manual tests for each failure in the end of the sprint. Automate test cases. Set up reporting. Create Docker images to run all the tests. We don't have the hardware to test it against yet. Teach a fossil how to use the whole thing. I don't know what a fossil is, but hopefully you're not making fun of someone's age. Jeez, that's not nice. All right. I am the only guy doing all this. Feels a little overwhelming, to be honest. It's exciting and challenging, but I can't seem to keep up. Is this what is expected of a test automation engineer, is this what is expected of a test automation engineer to do, or are we short of people here? No one else knows anything about QA, and they are just recently moving from waterfall to Agile. Just recently, should have been done that a long time ago, right? The size of the team is about 15. So that is a tough one, right? Because all those things that you listed, I pretty much do those things as well. I mean, we have a lot of things already in place. With like, we don't have like I didn't have to set up test automation from scratch at this particular company, but at other companies, I did have to set it up from scratch. Had to I had to set up my own CI pipeline. Design test cases, report bugs. I did attend every technical meeting on 2 teams, and correcting the outdated specifications, do the manual test, automate them, set up the reporting. I did all of that, right? But the difference is, at one company, I was able to have I did have some outsourced QAs, and I would assign them to do certain things and stuff like that. And at my current company, we have a smaller team. So like when you say the size of your team is 15, my question would be, how many developers do you have with that size team of 15? It's If it's 15, like that's okay. Let's say you have a scrum master and a product owner, and so let's say, and then you have yourself, then that would make 12 developers maybe, which that is entirely too many for one QA person. So I think you're short on staff of QA. And if no one else knows anything about QA, I think it would be, if you're able to do all of this, I think you would be capable of training someone to be able to work on this with you, because there is no way that they need like they don't even need 10 to 12 developers. So they can easily take 2 of those developers and you could train them. And because like if those developers are able to develop, and they should be able to develop and learn a testing mindset, and then you can implement that in them. So you don't have to teach a fossil. You can teach an actual human being who is educated and stuff like that. So I mean, the things that you do, it's totally normal for a QA person, which I didn't start the clock, but whatever. Start it now. Start it now. Right. But I think it's normal, the things that you do. I've done all these things, but I would say that the amount that you have to do, like, because usually it's about 3 to 4 developers per QA. So if it's like even a 6 to 10 developers for just you, that's way too much. Because like if they're all working on something, it's impossible for you to test all of that stuff. You're definitely gonna miss stuff. There's gonna be defects and bugs and stuff like that, which it doesn't have to be that way, So I would definitely recommend that you speak to your manager, right? See what can be done to lessen the burden on you, because I think if you are the most senior QA person, you should have you should have the space, right? The opportunity to think about how you're going to approach testing, who can help you with what. Because for instance, right, maybe you work on the automation and the CI/CD pipelines, and but maybe you show somebody how to report the bugs. You would probably be the best person to attend all the technical meetings to provide the insight from a QA perspective. But like correcting outdated story for specifications, that seems like it could be passed off to someone else. So it's all about working together and collaborating. In the agile methodology and Scrum, there is the mindset of that all the work doesn't fall on one person, right? People should be able to share the wealth and do other people's jobs. So like if there is a bottleneck at QA, developers should not be putting in new stories to continue to work. They should participate in the testing processes, whatever it is that you deem that they are. So let's say you set up all the infrastructure, because how many times do you have to set up reporting? And how many times do you have to like set up the test automation framework? But them being able to review the results, to automate test cases, that should be something that developers can do. And like my company, the developers, they participate in automation just as much as I do. Like because they're also developing. I am primarily the ones, me and my other QA person, we're primarily the ones who are like maintaining the automation framework, writing test cases. But they have like, if there's an actual story to get something automated, they have no problem jumping into our automation repository and adding tests and stuff like that. And I would say that is the goal that you would want to aim for your developers, right? So that they can also contribute to the work, because in Agile and Scrum, we're all one team, right? And we have the same common goal. That's what they call a sprint goal. and we need to work together instead of like everyone working in their own silo. There's time that you can work in parallel, but there's times that you have to also support your team, and by supporting your team, you need to be able to come together and say, okay, Mr. QA engineer, Mr. QA test automation engineer, we see that you need some help. We're going to take on this part. We're going to and this other developer is going to take on this part while the other developers keep on working. Because if you allow the developers to keep going ahead, then there's going to be that bottleneck effect where there's going to be so many stories in the backlog that need testing, and then you're never going to get it automated, and then things are never going to go out. So you need to implement a structure where you can work like when everybody can work at as a team and meet all of these QA requirements. I would highly suggest talking to your manager and asking your manager to separate, right? To separate, like get you some extra QA engineers, because they don't need that many developers on a team that only has one QA, and that way some can be working on QA and automation, whether it's manual testing and stuff like that, and then the others can continue working on developing, and then you can be in charge of the QA process, and that way you give yourself a little raise or a little promotion, right? And you're leading the QA efforts to make sure that everything is done in a timely fashion and you don't fall behind. All right. So hopefully that was able to help. I was able to give some insight. All right. So let me stop the clock on this one and let's wrap that up. All right. Let's jump to our next question.
Another one.
Hybrid and remote work. It says, I've noticed this trend of multiple companies suddenly forcing everyone to come back in the office at least 3 days per week. For the past 2 months, I started to find it harder to find remote-only jobs for my experience. I'm a senior QA automation engineer. It seems that pretty much the only ones available, although not many, are for contractors, which I'm thinking to switch to for several reasons. Does this happen where you live as well? All right. So I would say that we start with the clock. And I have been seeing that trend as well. But I have never depended on remote only. While I highly appreciate working remote, I know that I don't, as skilled as I am, as I was mentioning earlier, right? I don't control the market. If everyone is requiring people to go back to the office and I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna sit here and I'm gonna wait for a position to come in where it has to be remote or nothing. Well, I don't like waiting for nothing, right? So I'm going to do what I have to do. And if I was to end up finding a remote job later on, then cool. But you always have to put yourself in the best, like I said, in the best position to win. And here's the thing: when you go into the office, right, you get the opportunity to network with people, to speak to people. I remember when I went to my company headquarters back in October of last year. It was a great experience. I went to a different state, met with some amazing people, learned a lot, and got to see in person the people that I speak to every single day. But it's not your thing to you can't control it, right? You can hope that you get remote, but it's out of your hands, right? So I would say when I was looking for a job last year, I was willing to go back to the office, if that's what I had to do. Luckily for me, I ended up finding a company reached out to me that was in a total other state, and they were willing to allow me to work remote, right? But I was like on the brink of going back to the office and having to drive and spend gas and stuff like that. And I weighed that all through like my whole interview processes. Had to go to like some areas that I really didn't want to drive to because of traffic, some that weren't too bad, but still would have some traffic, and then being able to have the traffic of getting from my bedroom to my office, right? But yeah, I mean, you got to do what you got to do at the end of the day, and if it's like 2 days in the office, it's not too bad, because guess what? It used to be every single day in the office, right? And then like down here in South Florida, the company that I was working for before my current company, they were 20 miles away, right? It would take me about 40 minutes to an hour each way because of traffic, right? And it's like, it's not that far. If there's no traffic, it'll take me about 30 minutes to get there. With traffic, about like double the time, which was super annoying. But you got to do what you have to do. And you got like, at the end of the day, we can't really control like the market. If it's a company's market at the time, then we have to go to the office. If it's a employee's market at the time, then we get to work from home. It depends on the trends. Like during the pandemic, people got so used to working from home that when it's time to go back, oh, I'm not going back. Well, sometimes you don't really have that option, you know? Or I mean, you do have, like, you can do whatever you want, but guess what? The company can do whatever they want too. And if they say like, oh, we're requiring you to go back to the office, and you say, no, I'm not going back, then, you know, depending on the value that they believe that they perceive that you bring, that's what happens, you know? And oh, I want to see this real quick. Pluto says, I prefer 14, 14, 14 shifts. Remote is nice for me because I live in the middle of nowhere. Yeah, and you know what? That's something I was thinking about the other day too, right? Because a lot of people they'll move to like these middle of nowhere places, right? Because they had a remote job. And I always my greatest fear of that is like, what if you because if you don't have a way to generate your own income and like you need a company's job, right? What happens if they end up laying you off? Because I've known a few people who end up getting laid off because like just because the company's going through some changes and they bought a house in the middle of nowhere. You know, not in the middle of nowhere, but it's a place that might not have like really tech centric hubs, you know, and then now it's like, how do they find another job? Because it's like they really, really need to get a remote job, you know? So yeah, I mean that's how the game goes, you know. You're not it's give and take. And you know, I'm always willing to do what I have to do so I can put myself and my family in the best position to win. Yeah, so let's wrap that question up and then I will check the chat. All right, let's see what's in the chat. Yeah, all right. So thank you for that, Mitch. I appreciate it. Start yeah, thank you, Mitch. Like, so I'm so bad at the timer. I need to find a way to make it totally automatic. So Pluto says, all right, he'll appreciate that. We'll look in. Mitch says, is it a startup company? Which company are you referring to as a startup company? You talking about the one in the question? Oh, yeah, the one in the question. It's hard to believe that they're a startup company if they are moving from waterfall to agile, because I would expect like a startup company to go straight into agile, but it might be a company that was like a legacy company and they're just starting to move over. So I don't know. That's a good question. Mitch says, just a personal project of mine to make an app. I like companies like Proton and Orion Browser. Very cool. Start the timer. That's the plan. That's 2 to 3 days is definitely becoming normal. Yeah, it's definitely becoming normal, and it's like it's it's not as bad as people try to make it out to be. Um, there's a lot of benefits of going to the office, especially if you don't live too far from it. Like if I live like 5 minutes away from my office, I would be going. Especially at my office, they give like gourmet lunches and stuff like that. But that's a whole nother topic, right? But if like it's just like when you have to go through traffic and you have to wake up early to do that and stuff, it's just a pain. And then it says I'm going to have to start doing 2-day hybrids. Hey, but Mitch, they also gave you the bag. They gave you the bag for you to do those 2-day hybrids.
Money.
2 days and yeah, I got what you meant. I got what you meant. And I know people that drive 50 to 70 miles one way to work. That's normal in Jersey. The devil is a lie. Like I could not do that. I could not do that. 50 to 70 miles. My goodness, that's like a whole nother city, or county. And Pluto said the remote golden days are over, low key. It's kind of reversed for customer service or manager roles. And I agree, customer service. And oh my, I have a special guest in the chat. I used to live 5 minutes from the office and still never went in. This one deserves a. You are hilarious, Bridget. As always, hilarious. Amplitude says 5 minutes is nice. I'm walking daily. And definitely another county. Yeah, that's far. That's far. Anyways, let's get into our next question. Bridget and her 5 minutes away. All right, let's get into the next question for tonight. And if you haven't done so yet, do me a big favor. Like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you can know every time that we go live. All right, next question is, oops, that's not what I want to do. Next question is
Another one.
staying up to date in testing. How do you all stay up to date in the field? A lot of people say join communities or sign up to newsletters, but what would you recommend and why is it relevant to your role? Interested to see where people are at. All right, so before I say this is what I do, I'm going to tell you what you should do, all right? And the first thing that I should do is start the timer, but this is what you should do. The number one thing that you should do to stay up to date in QA and tech and everything is subscribe to the Tech Coach Ralph channel and hit the notification bell so you can know every time we go live and drop new content because we are fire on this channel. We don't miss, all right? But now, how do I stay up to date? Do I join newsletters? Do I join communities? I join some communities, right? But I mostly work. And when I say I work ferociously, right? Some people ask me like, when do you ever sleep? Right, Bridget? Like some people are like, when do you ever sleep? Well, I sleep. I don't have my calendar with me, but I have on my calendar scheduled to sleep between 12 midnight to 4:50 a.m. Right? That's what I have scheduled to sleep. Sometimes a little bit longer, sometimes a little bit shorter, based on what needs to be done. Like if I write some code and I leave it failing because I need to wake up early and I get frustrated because and I'm dreaming about it failing, having nightmares about the code failing, right? Nightmares. Then I wake up maybe around like 4 a.m. and I continue working on the code. Sometimes, like if I get everything done, then I might wake up a little bit later. So instead of at 4:50, maybe at 5:10, 5:15, maybe 5:30 if I'm feeling a little bit froggy, right? But I schedule everything and anything that I want to learn, right? You're going to see it on this channel, right? So the same way that you see we're working on Flutter in the morning and we're working on different QA automation tools, whether it's TypeScript or we're working on TypeScript with Selenium, Playwright, Cypress on Free Mind Recovery, or we're going to continue on Thursday, or if we're learning Terraform, or if I'm making videos on Docker, whatever the case may be, right? We put in the work. And that's how I'll research ferociously what I need, right? Looking on like different blog posts to see like following tutorials, setting up Mongo, in my coaching group, how we're building an application, giving QA experience, me learning more about full stack development, Docker and stuff like that. It's about putting in the work, because if you just join a tech group, right, a QA group, or a newsletter, what does that do for you? It's just information that they're providing to you. How are you applying that information? You saw, like, even though it was a total failure, right? A total failure. We jumped on that Netflix safe test right away, right? Without hesitation because it was something new. So, okay, we're going to try to figure it out. And we did for the most part, but like, I don't know if it was us or if it was them, but whatever, right? But we jumped on it and we said, okay, this is new. We're going to try it out. The same thing with Amazon Q, which cost me a pretty penny to actually try out. But Amazon Q came out, we jumped on it and we tried to figure it out. So it's all about exploration. And that's why I call almost everything that I do software explorations, because we want to explore, we want to learn, we want to see how does this work. And that's how I stay up to date in testing and infrastructure, all those things, right? That's how I stay up to date. It's not about, okay, I'm just going to join this Discord here. I'm just going to read this article, read this book. It's how do I apply it? What's the practical application? So I'll tell you this, right? In some of the discords that I'm in, I do presentations. I do presentations to share about, like, to share what I'm learning, to share what I'm about. I did in the Grammar Hub Discord last month in February. I did a presentation about an overview of QA, right? Some other places I've done like turning a resume into a online website. Doing presentations in different spots, and it stimulates my mind. It helps me learn and provide value to those that I'm presenting to. And then they have the opportunity to ask questions, whatever it is that they need. So when it comes down to staying up to date, it's just doing something. The same way you see Pluto here, saying that he wants to build an app, or he's working on building an app, right? That is how you stay up to date, because and I guarantee this, right? As Pluto is going to build that app, he's going to come into different challenges the same way that I came into challenges. And we're going to go on Google and we're going to research, oh, how do I get past this? How do I get past that? Get a bunch of Stack Overflow responses, and then you try and you tinker and stuff like that until you get something that works here. And then you're like, wow, I actually learned a lot, and that's how it works. It's not about, I definitely recommend joining communities, joining different newsletters or whatever. But I've seen in every community that I've joined, it doesn't miss, it doesn't fail. Every community that I've joined, it goes quiet. It goes quiet, right? And I'm always trying to, and like talking about introvert. I'm introvert, right? But it goes quiet, and I'm trying to stir up the conversation and say, okay, what can we do here? How can we build here? And things like that. So I would recommend that you become active. You try to, you just go and try to build something. Just try to build something. And you're going to be exploring and using a whole bunch of tools that you didn't know how to use before. And you're going to be successful that way. Okay. So that's how I stay up to date. It's I network, I communicate, I build. The number one thing that I do is build, baby, build. All right. All right. Let's wrap that one up. And Mitch says, okay, Professor Ralph. Yes. I like that name. And Mitch says, being an introvert helps as well. Speaking, getting out comfort zone. Yes, because Mitch, he's only supposed to be saying 6 words a stream, but whenever he comes to this channel, he is on a roll. He's on a roll. Like, hey, what can I say? And Pluto says, Chat GPT. Yes. Chat GPT is helpful. The funny thing about Chat GPT, Pluto, is I don't use it that much for actual coding stuff. I use it more as my assistant, right? So for instance, writing video descriptions and coming up with stuff like that, stuff that I don't want to think about that much. But when it comes to my coding stuff, I don't know. I haven't been able to go over into ChatGPT for that stuff yet. I don't know, but yeah, but I know a lot of people use it and it can definitely help. So definitely look into that. Use everything, everything is a tool, right? So use it for your advantage. A lot of people are afraid of AI and ChatGPT and Gemini and stuff like that. I say, hey, you can be afraid of it and have it defeat you, or you can embrace it and learn how to defeat everyone else, and you can come out on top of it. So I love AI. I think it's great. I think it is very, very useful, and don't get on the bandwagon so you can be the one who makes use of it while other people are afraid of it. All right. Awesome. Okay. Let's jump into our next question of the night. Get some water. Okay. Next question.
Another one.
Job hunting suggestion. I have been applying for QA positions more than 300 roles in the US of A. They must be going to that boot camp. And have only received 1 call. Aw. That sucks. I hate when I hear that. Like people, they're applying so much and they barely get. Some people get no calls whatsoever, not even a response. So that really sucks. It seems like the market is really slow, and I can see a few thousand applicants for each role. You know, if you're looking on LinkedIn. How has your experience been? I'm so exhausted with QA. I have over 5 years of experience, but it's so hard to get a QA job recently. I update my resume to tailor it to the job description, but before applying for each role, but I have had no luck. I would greatly appreciate your suggestion and feedback. All right, so I've done videos about resumes and stuff like that. If you have 5 years of experience in QA, right? I would I would bet to say that I have to start the clock. I have to start the clock. And well, good guy. Not everyone has someone to do their applying for them. Just saying, just saying. Move this up just a bit right there. Okay. Um. Okay. So here's what I say about your resume is that why did the clock start? So while you should tailor the resume, like your resume to the job description, but what does that mean that you're tailoring it to the job description, right? Um, and I don't know, for most QA resumes or just most IT QAs in general that I've seen, they're all pretty bad. Like 99% of them are bad, right? And why do I say that they're bad? Because they don't express any value. And that's part of the thing I was expressing on the call yesterday was I have tailored my resume to first and foremost express the value that I bring to every company and that I'm looking to bring to the current company that I'm applying to, right? And I also have like I also list the ways that I've brought the value, like the skills that I've done. Because a lot of times, like they were asking, like, can't you just say what you did, or like not what you did, but like, can you just say the value that you brought? I say, yeah, but if I don't share how that I brought that value, then I'm leaving something out, and then that's going to leave them wondering. And they can think like, oh, there's no possible way that they can do this. But if I'm very detailed, it says the way that I did this was by doing that, then it's okay. That makes sense because I can see how that's happening. But a lot of times, the typical QA resume will say this, right? I wrote automation tests. I wrote test cases. And then it starts off with dedicated to quality assurance and stuff like that, which is like what's what everyone says, right? The way that I have my long resume is very, very strategic, very, very focused to say, I I did this like at my company, the value that I brought was this, this, and this by doing this, this, and that. And going to your company, I look to do this, this, and that, right? Very, very to the point and saying, like, I'm going to be a rock star at your company. And then I list the skills that I have. And then I say, okay, in my previous roles, I did this so that this could happen. These are the accomplishments, stuff like that, right? And I would bet won't put my life on it, but I would highly say that your resume is saying, I do this, I do this. It's very short, it's very like bland. It looks like everybody else, right? And that's probably why you don't have a look. I mean, 300 applications with 5 years of experience. There's probably some more things that are going on as well. But I would say definitely start with your resume. You have to be so me. I take a step by step approach. If I'm not getting any interviews, there's something wrong with my resume. Have you paid somebody to look over your resume, or are you just trying to do it yourself? How long do you have to not get results before you ask for help, and not just by posting on online forum saying that, oh, I've applied for 300 jobs and I got one call. Well, I don't know what's going on. It's go find a resume expert and say, hey, can you look at my resume and see what's going on? Go find somebody in Q. Here's another idea, right? Go find a QA manager. They don't even have to hire you, but say, hey, you or a recruiter and say, hey, I need some help. Can you look at my resume to see like what's wrong with it and why I'm not getting any callbacks. And then they can give you some pointers, and you might have to pay them for that. But you should be willing to pay them so that you can see what's missing and what they're looking for and what you don't have. Maybe there's some skills that they're looking for that you don't have and that you need to go and get so that you can add to your resume and you can be successful in that manner. You know, so many, like, a lot of times we just quit. Why is this thing not, whatever with this clock? It just doesn't want to run. But on the next one, we'll get it. But what I'm saying is, why are we so? Why do we wait for, like, either we wait to the last second or we don't do anything at all? Put yourself in the best position to win. Reach out for help. You know, I review resumes and stuff like that, but reach out for help and pay for the help that you need so that you can be in the position that you want to be in. Nothing is free in life. All right, I'm gonna wrap that one up. All right. We are moving along. I'm very thirsty tonight. Okay, let's read the chat real quick. Good guy says Claude AI is also very nice to use. Switching from OpenAI over there this month. Cool, very nice. I heard of Claude the other day. It says easier said than done. Hang in there, keep going. It's tough out there, and a lot of times it's not you or your resume. A lot of companies already know who they want. That is true too. But yeah, I mean, I would definitely recommend getting feedback on your resume though. And the resume plays some part of it, you know. You just sometimes jobs posts are set for someone internal that's pre-decided on. That's true too. But hey, you always got you miss. How does that saying go? You miss 100% of the shots that you don't take. So and it's hard to believe that 300 jobs would already be set for somebody internally. Um, I always think that there needs to be. I think part of applying for. I think part of applying for jobs is there's a strategy to it, and a lot of times that people they just apply for the job and then they walk away, right? And they just hoping that the job fairy. They just hope that the job fairy is going to knock at their door after they send in their applications. I say that you need to find somebody in there to connect with and stuff like that. Send your resume. Make sure that it's stands out. Try to see how other people's resumes are and make it better than theirs. You know, it's a competition. And reach out to hiring managers. Reach out to recruiters, and you have to like, I remember Mitch. Remember that time I had the conversation with Mitch and Trey about networking. There's a big aspect of networking that comes with it as well. So it's a multifaceted approach. It's like you're not gonna win a war just by like throwing slingshots. You know, sometimes you're gonna have to shoot some guns. You're gonna have to throw some bombs, throw some grenades, have some air attack, have some sea attack. It's a multi attack. You know, so just saying. And I agree with you. I know I gotta be the. I know. You gotta balance me out. So you gotta balance me out. You know. All right. So let's get to our next one. If you haven't done so already, do me a big favor: like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you can know every single time that we go live. All right. Let's get to need some water. I don't know why. I have to go get some more water soon. All right, let's get to our next one.
Another one.
I always wonder how to answer this question. What portion of your daily schedule is dedicated to manual testing compared to automation testing? Specifically for projects where a mix of test cases is conducted through automation scripts and others manually. Well, let's start the clock on this one. Make sure it starts. All right, it's working. Okay, so that is a tough question. I personally don't have a ratio. I mean, I guess on paper it's about 50-40 or 50-50 to 60% automation, 40% manual. But it's really what the team needs, right? And the way that I try to work it when it comes to writing automation tests is I try to get started on them early, and we have a really good like we use BDD and Behave using Python, so it's really easy to add additional automation tests. So we'll write the test steps and the scenarios and stuff, but most of the tests are reusable. And then if we need to add a new like new code, we just go into the Python steps file and we'll add in the whatever code that we need. So it doesn't take that long to add additional automated tests, and it doesn't take that long to do manual testing for, especially for the domain that I'm in. But what happens is I try to get started early, so by the time the development is done, as I'm proceeding with the testing, I can just fill in the blanks for the automation, and then I can also and then like while I'm running the manual, I can also start running the automated test. We also have a very nice regression suite. So running all those regression suites as well to make sure that nothing has broken and stuff like that. That is part of our testing. So it's it's hard to answer that question about a percentage because it's based on the need. If you're getting a backlog of automation tests, then that's because that you're not including the automation tests as part of your stories, and you're probably separating them, which I know, like I used to do in the past. I know a lot of people do it, but it will always lead you to a backlog, and so that's why we try to prioritize automation tests to be part of the stories and part of the development. Um, you know, so I would say some days I might not do any automation. Some days I might do full automation. Um, I don't think I'm ever really manual testing a full day because our stories are pretty small, and our so we're able to, let's say we spend a few hours doing manual testing, and it just varies. It just varies on the day, on the level, on the where the developers are at and the work that they're doing, where I'm at in the automation that I'm doing. Just make it come together. It's every company is going to be different how they manage it. Every QA engineer is going to be different how they manage it. You just need to find that right balance. But if you are falling behind in automation, then you need to analyze why. Why are you falling behind? Is it because there's too many stories that are in the sprint? Is it because you're not getting any help? Is it because the developers are not, like, let's say you're doing web testing, right? Is it because the developers aren't providing easy to identify selectors? Those are all the things that I would ask, and like you need to analyze. Like one of the things that I think that we fail to do as QA engineers and as software engineers is to analyze where we're at, why we're there. And once we can answer those questions, then we can properly adjust. A lot of times we just like to adjust, but we don't actually think through why we are in the situation that we're in. And I think that we need to slow down and we need to look at that to see, okay, what can I do? What can I do to make the situation better? And then you attack that way instead of just trying to throw spaghetti at the wall and hoping that something sticks. All right. So that's how I see it. You know, that's it's like I said, it's gonna be every Q engineer, every company is going to manage that differently and how they approach it. Okay. All right, let's wrap that one up. Let me says, yeah, I remember that convo was intense. Luckily, we are family. I just came on the scene like resumes. But nah, it was all fun. It was all fun. Okay, let's go to our next question. You know what? I'm gonna go get some water real quick. Let me get some water because my water's running out and I am thirsty. So give me 1 second. All right, I'm back. I got my water. I'm doing good. I am well hydrated. All right, let's keep going. Let's keep going. So before we get to the next question, if you haven't done so yet, do me a favor, like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you can know every single time that we go live. If you need one-on-one personal coaching, go over to techcoachralph.dev. Spots are becoming very, very limited. Okay, cool. So let's get to the next question.
Another one.
Is selenium becoming obsolete? If you ask Good Guy, he's going to say yes. But let's find out. Let's read the question. Recently, I've been noticing some humorous yet concerning trends in the QA automation job market. Job descriptions sent my way have spanned a wide range of responsibilities from Scrum Master to Business Analyst, all under the umbrella of a QA automation role. What's more intriguing is the shift in technical demands. Traditionally, Selenium and Java dominated the QA automation landscape, but now there is a noticeable pivot towards newer technologies like Cypress.io, Playwright, and JavaScript. This trend leads to the burning question: is Selenium losing its stronghold on the market? That is an amazing question, and I will answer that question. Let's start the clock. So, is Selenium as powerful as it used to be? I would say that, of course not. Nothing is as powerful as it used to be because there's always going to be competitors that get involved in the game and stuff like that. I do still think that Selenium is still the strongest. It still does have it doesn't have the stronghold, but it's still the strongest, the most requested one because it works across so many different languages, right? C#, Java, Python, JavaScript, Ruby. I might be missing some, right? But it works on all those languages. And it gives you the ability to automate on mobile devices, to send automation to AWS Device Farm, Sauce Labs, Browser Stack, so many different things, right? So many options that it gives you. But at the same time, there's different tools that are being made. Playwright is pretty cool. Cypress is pretty cool. They all work in their own ways. They can't test mobile and stuff like that. So it all depends on what you need. Also, using Playwright or Cypress in a full stack environment, if you're building a website or an application on React or the MERN stack or something like that, Playwright or Cypress might be the best one for you. But it just depends, right? It just depends. So I would say that it's not that competition is good. Why is competition good? Because when you have these new tools that are coming out, then that forces Selenium to enhance their capabilities and stuff like that. So when Selenium was the only tool around, it had the stronghold because there was nothing else, right? It was either that or some expensive software. But now that you have tools like Playwright and Cypress coming out, it's going to force Selenium to become better. And if they can become better with all the languages that they have and all the tools, then it makes them even more dangerous. When you have these little companies who are trying to compete with these big dogs like Walmart or Amazon and stuff like that, and they come out with, okay, we're going to offer this. Guess what? Once Amazon or Walmart sees those offerings, then they start offering it too, and now they drown them out. So Selenium has the capability of doing that. Will they? We'll see. Right now, to your other question about the job descriptions that are spanning a wide range of responsibilities, I would say back to the question that Mitch asked earlier, is it a startup that you're referring to? Because it's hard to see bigger companies having the QA doing that many roles. As a QA engineer, I understand the Scrum Master role. I think QAs are very similar to business analysts, but and it's not I wouldn't say that that's under a QA automation role. I would say as a senior QA engineer, I understand the Scrum Master. Can I do the job of a Scrum Master? Absolutely not, because I've heard it said before, it's like herding cats, But It's a very demanding job as a scrum master, which as a QA engineer is also a demanding job, but in a different aspect because we're focused on like the technology, making sure things work, assessing the risks and stuff like that, while the scrum master is trying to unblock the issues that the the team has. And I would fair to say a scrum master trying to extract information out of a bunch of introverts is not the easiest thing to do, right? Um, so if it's a smaller company, I can kind of see why that would happen. Like one of the people that I have working in a startup, they're like their role spans across many different areas, you know? Um so it just depends on the size of the company. If it's a pretty established company, then most likely you won't be having to do that. I would say though, if you need a role, it is great amount of experience. Those responsibilities is going to teach you a lot, and it'll prepare you for the future. And if you can handle that, then you can handle anything. I never count anything out. I'm always looking. I'm always getting ready to adjust and to pivot. I mean, in my current role, I've been asked by my scrum master when they were like unavailable if I could help facilitate some meetings. We even facilitate some of the like the plannings and stuff like that. So we work very well as a team. So I would say I wouldn't turn away from the job based on these descriptions. I would look into it more to find out, okay, what exactly is going on here? Do I have to be a full-time scrum master? Because you also have to do your job as a QA engineer. So I would ask questions before you write anything off. Ask questions. So I mean, yeah. So that's pretty much what it is. It's suddenly gonna become obsolete. No, it's not. But it does have competition that's growing. So and it's just gonna have to compete. We always have to compete. All right. So with that, I want to wrap that question up. All right. And Mitch says, if you go by the influencer, Scrum Masters only work 2 hours a day. I don't I haven't seen like I mean I read an article that talked something about that, but I haven't seen many influencers talk about Scrum Masters that way. But maybe I'm not in the space where they talk about a lot of Scrum Masters, but I think the Scrum Masters they do like their job is not easy. Having to manage these meetings and stuff like that. And like when they come up with these retro ideas and these story mapping and stuff like that, I would not want to do that job. Like I would not want to do the job of a Scrum Master because like I said, it's like herding cats. Like, and I have two cats here, and they just do whatever they want. I think they try to kill me in my sleep sometimes too. But that's a whole nother story. That is a whole other story. Okay, so let's get to it. We have two questions to go, and before we get to the next one, do me a favor if you haven't done so yet, like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you can know every single time that we go live. All right, so let's get to the next question. This one's gonna be a pretty interesting one. Let's get to it.
Another one.
And I'm curious to hear your thoughts on this as well. So it says, my job wants me to travel 2 to 3 weeks a month for a new project. How can I reduce it? Or how can I ask to reduce it? I work in STEM. And for those who don't know, STEM is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. I think that's what it is. How can I politely say this is too much travel for me? I don't want to miss on the opportunity or come off as complaining, and I don't mind traveling, but 2 to 3 weeks every month is kind of a lot. I thought they mentioned it would be a couple of weeks on and a couple of weeks someone else would go, which would which is better. But when I talked to the guy I would be working with, he said 2 weeks minimum a month to travel. Again, I don't mind traveling. I thought it was going to be like a week, a month, or something. I really like my job too. I just feel the travel is a lot. So start the clock. Okay. So here's the deal with this question, right? And I'm curious to hear your thoughts too. If whenever whenever a whenever a deal is made, right, and a job tells me something, I expect it to be give or take, right? It's going to be a little more or a little less. So while and if they told you mention a couple of weeks wait, no. If they said, when I talked to the guy I would be working with, he said 2 weeks minimum, travel a month. So if they told you 2 weeks minimum, if they told you 2 weeks minimum, that means it could easily be 2 to 3 times a week. I don't know. I thought they meant, see, you thought they mentioned it would be a couple of weeks on and a couple of weeks someone else would go, which if that's the case, 2 weeks you'd go and then 2 weeks the other person goes and then 2 weeks you go and 2 weeks the other person goes. So the question is, did you agree to this when you accepted the role, right? That, like, to me, that it all comes down to did you accept this right now? Can you try to get out of it? You can. You don't want to miss on the opportunity and come off as complaining. Well, what I always talk about is having a plan. Did you plan this properly? If this is what you agreed to, you can ask for it, but they might say no, you agreed to this, and then you might have to figure out if you're going to keep that role or if you're going to go somewhere else. 2 to 3 weeks, it does sound a lot because that means you're home for like 1 week out of the month, and at that point, like, why do you even need your place? But that's another story. I would say, like, hey, if it's that important to you, then you can have a conversation with whoever is in charge and say, is there a way that you can reduce it? But the thing is, what I always say is, what did you agree to? You know, it's your word. It's like a contract. You say, okay, I said I was gonna travel 2 to 3 weeks out of the month, and now I don't want to do it. So what are my options? Either, well, you can have a conversation with whoever's in charge, and they can say, well, this is what you agreed to. You have to do it. You can say, I'm not going to do it, and then you go find another job. Or you can try to negotiate, right? I think it feels like you put yourself in this position, and now you want to go back on what you agreed to. That's what it sounds like to me. You know? Did you back out of it? And let me see what Mitch says. Sounds like an implementation team travel. They travel 60 to 90%. That sounds about right too. And it says they may travel to multiple different places. For example, 2 weeks Florida, then 2 weeks Jersey, then another 2 weeks Texas. Yeah, that sounds about right. Like, they might be like, you know, they have to go a bunch of places because of the type of work that they do, the nature of the work that they do. My question is, as well, did you ask these questions? A lot of times we just like, okay, yes, yes, yes. And then when the work comes, like, oh, no, no, no. You have to ask these questions in the beginning to know what's at stake. Sometimes they might float in front of you like, oh, you're going to be making this much money and stuff like that. And then when you start doing the job, like, oh, but I don't want to go to this location. And now, what do you do? You know? So I think we don't properly plan. We don't properly weigh the risk. We agree to things until we actually have to do it. And that's the worst part about it, right? When we agree to things and then we actually don't want to do it, and now when we have to do it, we try to backtrack out of it. I would say you need to figure out what you agreed to and, you know, have a conversation or just do it, you know, or find something else. You know, those are your options. Not much you can do. You know, like Mitch says, if you're working on implementation, then you have to travel. Mitch says 150K. Yes, I'll take it and then get a job and then get the job. Yeah, exactly. Right. Like, yeah, I'll do it. Oh, that's what the job is, you know, but hey, you got 150K. So you got to go out there and do what you got to do, you know? And here's the thing, right now, after you get the money, now you're like, well, can I change the terms of the condition? Well, are you willing to give back some of the money? No. Well, then no, you have to travel 2 to 3 times a week, you know? What can I say? But Mitch is always on point. Shout out to Mitch as always. All right, let's wrap up this question. Timer is going off. We are at our last question of the night. And as we get to this last question, do me a favor. Like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you can know every single time that we go live. All right, this last question says...
Another one.
I have 2 months to just study Python or another programming language and build projects. I can realistically study for 10-ish hours a day. So, how should I start with it? Is it possible to become a junior developer in such a time frame? That is a great question. Is it possible to become a junior developer in 2 months? Let's start the clock. So, I guess it depends on what you mean by junior, right? What exactly is a junior engineer or junior developer? I guess it's anyone. I mean, I don't know if that's defined really. Like, what's a junior? Is it like if you okay, if you write one line, if you write "Hello World," right? The first thing that everyone writes "Hello World" or "Hello Tech Coach Ralph." Does that make me a junior developer? I would say it does not make me a junior developer because I can write one line of code, the most basic code of "Hello Ralph," right? So, I would say here, I would say this: there is no possible way that somebody can realistically study 10 hours of code per day. It's just your your mind can't take that much code. I can't even write code. Like I know how to do automation and how to write code and stuff like that. I can't write code for 10 hours a day, let alone study something new for 10 hours a day. Your your brain is gonna get fried that way. I could work on writing code, and if I'm stuck on something, if I'm building something, I can work on it for a few hours out of the day. But to sit down and study something totally new for 10 hours a day, I don't think it's possible because when you're studying, you have to go over the things over and over and over again to for it to retain, and you need to build something and things like that. So so to ask the question of like to say that you can study for 10 hours a day, I don't believe it. I think it's too hard, right? Now, I don't understand why you only have 2 months or why you have 2 months to learn. Is it because you have something that's happening in between those 2 months? But I also don't think you're going to become a junior developer in 2 months. And why don't I believe you're going to become a junior developer in 2 months? Because there is a lot of things that go in with programming, developing, learning infrastructure, learning the right coding methods, learning how to write unit tests. Do you know how many people who have who are software engineers but they don't know how to write unit tests. They don't know what test driven development is. They don't know what testing is. They don't know how to, especially like the full stack developers. They don't know how to add IDs to their HTML code so that it can be easily testable. And without like they don't know how to use Jira. They don't know what Scrum is. They don't know what Agile is. To me, being even like to be a junior developer, you need to know how to use these tools. Just because you can write some code in Python or in Java, and things like that, that doesn't make you a. It just means you know how to code. You know how to write some code. But how about writing? I would say for you to become a junior developer, you would need to actually write some production ready code. So code that has tests, code that goes through the pipeline, that can stand up, that can be actually presented. It doesn't have to be the best code, but it needs to be something that's going to work, something that adds value into the world, right? I always talk about Calculus Coder, Jared at Calculus Coder, and how he built an app, the one that we've been automating on Thursday nights. But he built an app and he put it out there, and he got actual live users on it and stuff, right? And in automating it, in writing tests for it, automating it, I found a few things that could be done better. But the fact that he actually put it out there is what is the cool part, and what allowed me the ability to give feedback. And in his next iteration, he's going to make some adjustments, some enhancements, and implement the feedback that was given. You know, so I just think that the goal for 2 months to become a junior developer is a bit bullish and hard to pull off because the projects that you plan to build, what value are they going to bring? Where are they who's going to see them? Are they going to go to the graveyard of GitHub, right? The graveyard of GitHub is your GitHub repo. Because if you just have stuff there but nobody looks at it, then who cares? Build stuff that is actually going to add value into the world. And I think that when you do that, that is when you are going to actually become that junior developer where you understand what user stories are, what a refinement is, what a retrospective is, what a daily stand-up is, what a sprint planning is, how to use Jira. And that's one of the ways that I coach. I put my coaching team in that environment so that they can actually build real world, real life experience, and then they can have things to talk about in their interviews, on their resumes, and stuff like that. So 2 months to becoming a junior developer, it doesn't work that way. I mean, I guess you're a junior developer if you can write some code, but there's so many other factors that play into becoming a developer in general. It's not just about being able to write some Python script. It's more about how do I collaborate, how do I work together with a team, and how do I produce good, clean code, right? Good, clean code. So that is my thought on it. That's my take. Okay. So let's wrap that question up. And let's read the chat before we wrap it up for tonight. Pluto says 2 months. And Mitch says anything is possible. Realistically, not sure. This is, I think, with pre-exposure and 16 hours per day grind, maybe for 60 days straight. That's it's power to that person. Hey. And Pluto says, are you telling me boot camps for 20Ks are lying to me when they say I can learn to code in one course? Well, he puts those faces and Pluto says, you asked the right question. Ralph loves boot camps. Says, oh, really? Not gonna lie, boot camps are so expensive compared to You know what? I never even thought about that. That is a great point.
Message.
I'm going to read that one more time. Pluto says, not going to lie, boot camps are so expensive compared to a bachelor's degree. If you think about it, right, you can there's some cybersecurity boot camps and stuff, or Linux boot camps. I forgot exactly, but they could be like 20 grand for it. And you might go to school for 9 months. But if let's say you were to go to maybe a local college, a state college, or a community college, right? You could easily it could be the same price as a boot camp. I mean, you might have to take more courses and stuff like that. But if jobs are asking for degrees, which I don't think degrees, like, I already talked about like how I see the degrees, but it is like, you're right. I never even thought about that. Compared to a bachelor's, it's actually cheaper to go to I mean, unless you're going for one of those degrees in those out of state colleges where you're paying like 100 grand, but Mitch says, Pluto, no, I'm joking. Yeah, he's joking about the boot camp stuff. Because I talk so highly of boot camps on this channel, very, very, very highly of boot camps. And he goes, I'm vanilla. It's a long running joke how much I appreciate boot camps. And it says backlog, CI/CD, Jira, Confluence. Yep, that's a big one. Confluence. Please look what you started. Western Governors University, Bachelor's of Science, cybersecurity for 1 year is 10K. That's not bad. How do they like? I guess I have to look into it. But what's the course load to get the bachelor's in 1 year? How many? Like, how do they break down the semesters? How do they break down the like how many courses you're taking in order to get the bachelor's in 1 year? Because that seems pretty fast. Because usually it's like 4 years. How do they compress it into 1 year? And he says, I see now, and has 15 certs. So are you saying along with taking the So when you go for the bachelor's for cybersecurity at WGU, you also obtain 15 certs in the process because that's pretty cool. That is pretty cool. Yeah, I have to look more into that because I've seen their commercials a few times, but I never really looked into it. But that's like that sounds pretty good. I mean, you get a boot camp for 10K. So if you can spend a year to do the work to get a bachelor's in cyber, then and like since you're new to the channel, you haven't heard me say this yet, but the way that I see it, you have to use every tool to your advantage, right? I have one of the people that I'm coaching, 20-year-old kid, he's going to school for cybersecurity. He's at a local community college, but he was having trouble with the way that they were teaching him Python and they were teaching him SQL. So I said, well, sign up for a Udemy course, right? You sign up for a Udemy course, and now after you sign up for the Udemy course, he was a rock star in Python and in SQL. And whenever he would have some trouble, we'd get on a call. I'd help him. I'd help him out. And now he and I when I spoke to him the other day, he was telling me that now he's so comfortable in the Python and in the SQL that other students were coming to him to ask for help. So like I say, some people I know they're taking a boot camp. I say, okay, cool, take your boot camp, but you also need to do something else. You need to learn something else because what they're teaching you in the boot camp alone is not going to be enough. All right. So that's very interesting, very interesting. And okay, let's see what Pluto says. Each term semester is 6 months for 5K. You can finish as much classes as you desire in that 6 months. It comes with certs. So either 30 classes in 6 months for 5K or one class. Oh, interesting. So that's interesting. I haven't heard of that concept before. That is pretty interesting. Self-paced. You just have to finish each class one at a time to move to the next. They won't let you skip. Oh, that's interesting. That is pretty interesting. I haven't heard of that before. That's pretty interesting. I have to look into it a little bit more. I did my master's in 6 months from the interesting. That's pretty interesting. Do I have any questions about that? I have any questions about that? How long would you say like if let's say you dedicate X amount of time to taking a class, um, how long would you say a class is in hours? Like outside of the time that you spend on it, but how many hours would you say it would take to finish a class if you were to work on it consistently? And then we're gonna wrap up the show for tonight. But yeah, this is very interesting to be learning about WGU. Hopefully, I hope Tech Takeover. He probably knows this information already, but I hope he watches this on replay to see the information that Pluto is sharing with us because that's very interesting to hear. All right, okay. So let's get ready to start wrapping up though. All right. Okay, so we'll see if Pluto responds, but in the meantime, all right. So Mitch says, I think a lot of people do WGU for cyber. That's what. Okay, interesting. I've just seen a few commercials on it. I don't even know. I barely know what they offer, but that's pretty cool. I'm gonna look into it just to see what they have. But that's pretty cool. Okay, let's wrap it up for tonight. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I really, really appreciate it. Pluto, I appreciate you so much for joining us tonight.
I appreciate you.
Let's see. It says, for me, master's level cyber, I did 4 hours per day study. On my weekends, an extra 8 hours. You had to complete an essay and a CompTIA cert like Pentest or CYSA to finish. Oh, that's interesting. And each class may be 30 to 40 hours. So 1 week full. Oh, that's interesting. So if you did about 4 hours per day, and on the weekend, so let's say you did Monday through Friday, 4 hours is 20 plus another 8 on the weekends is 28 hours. So you were probably doing about a class about every week and a half, maybe every 2 weeks you're finishing off a class. Um, yeah, So about every 2 weeks a new class, and that means with a new class that means you did an essay and a CompTIA cert like pen test. So every 2 weeks you're getting a certificate, and you're completing an essay. So that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. We'll connect and we'll talk a little bit more about it, because I'm sure a lot of people would like to hear more about your experience at WGU. So we'll definitely talk more about that. And as Mitch said, thank you so much for joining us today. That I really, really appreciate you being here. We learned a lot. What happened to my thing? All right, I'm going to wrap it up. I am going to wrap it up. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Okay, so we are done for tonight. Well, we were done, but no. Let's see. Okay, so I'm so intrigued by this. So yeah, about 1 to 2 weeks finish a class. I took 2 months off and still finished in 6 months. I'm new to cyber, but just 1 year into And here's a cool thing about this. You're exactly right. Sharon might be interested. Here's the cool thing about this. I love the fact that you're working already. I think you said you're working as a security analyst, I believe you said earlier. But I think that's absolutely amazing that you're already in the field now, and you're using what you're learning, and then now it's only up from here. So that's awesome. You deserve a huge round of applause. That is totally awesome. So, yeah, and Mitch, as you said, I think Sharon might be interested for real. So, I will reach out to her and share that. Yeah, so we're gonna wrap it up for good this time. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. But after answering all these questions, and Mitch, my sidekick, for being in the chat, Pluto says yes, security analyst tier 2 level. Awesome. When we have cybersecurity Q&A night, you definitely have to tune in, Pluto, because we are gonna have some fun with that night, probably next Tuesday with Socks. All right. With that being said, it's time for my question for you. What is my question for you? The question, as always, is:
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Is this not why you are here?
Are you not entertained? We are. Not only are we entertained, we are also educated, right? We love to learn. We love to win. Winning and learning is fun. That is our form of entertainment. We do not miss. But Mitch knows the deal. Yesterday's price is not today's price. Today's price is not tomorrow's price. So remember people, remember folks.
One more thing. Price of the brick going up.
The price of the brick is going up. And with that being said, we are out.
You might think that getting into the IT field is impossible without a computer science degree, but Tech Coach Ralph is here to prove you wrong. Get ready for some jaw-dropping revelations on how to break into this lucrative industry. Listen up, tech enthusiasts! Are you ready to break through into the IT field, but feel like you need a computer science degree to make it happen? Think again. Tech Coach Ralph has some exclusive, mind-blowing secrets to share with you. Get ready to be blown away by his jaw-dropping revelations on how to break into the tech industry without a computer science degree. So get your notepad ready, because Tech Coach Ralph is going to change your life forever. Buckle up, because you're about to embark on a journey to success in the IT field.
Hear me, warriors of the North. Today we have tasted the sweet nectar of victory. Our foes indeed defeated, and their lands are now bowed before us. The gods themselves have favored our glorious deeds on this glorious day. We have shed blood, sweat, and tears to claim this land. Our relentless spirit, our unyielding determination, these are the very essence of our people. It's been our ancestors rejoice in the halls of Valhalla. For today, we have added to their eternal glory. Our victories will echo throughout the ages, and our names will be etched in the annals of history. But let us not forget the present pain, the brothers and sisters we lost. They now feast in the hall of our forefathers watching over us with pride. Their sacrifice has paved the way for this moment of triumph. As we celebrate this conquest, let us also remember that our journey is far from over. More land awaits our conquest, more battles call us forth. And the fire in our hearts burn ever brighter, for there is no limit to what we can achieve. To those who dare stand against us, let them tremble in fear, for they shall witness the fury of the northern storm, the wrath of the untamed barbarians. Today we celebrate our victory. Tomorrow, we set our sights on new horizons, a charted land where our banners will fly high. We are Vikings, we're barbarians, we are masters of conquest.